The following is a presentation of Sinistra Manus Productions. It is intended solely for educational purposes. Please follow and like us on Facebook and YouTube for information on upcoming seminars, interviews with the masters, and other multimedia productions.
Ricardo Mendoza had that mentality of no styles, but all styles, right? Mm-hmm. That was his motto, right? And so basically, all styles have something to offer, and so when we were asked, what's your style? All styles, but no styles, right? And so, because we use whatever worked, right? And so, this is back in the 70s, when everything was about style. What, this style, that style, and we're going, no, it doesn't have to be about style. So what style do you train in? All of them, or as many as I can, but no style is my way, right?
And this was when you were still in the Philippines?
This was in the Philippines, and what was funny is, we went to Baguio to train, and we're training up in Baguio, and, when we were training there, we were training from before the sun came up to when the sun went down, okay? Without being able to go anywhere for lunch, for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Everything was brought to us at the gym, right? So we're working out, break, eat, continue, working out, break, eat, working out. It was just, and so all the instructors there in Baguio, they took turns working with us and teaching us. And then before we left, they put on a private tournament, which we had to fight in, and so, that's when I got my green sash, and I had come back to the U.S., and I was a green sash, and same as a green belt, but in no style but all styles, right? Because they were teaching us judo, they were teaching us eskrima, they were teaching us basically Sikaran and Arnis 63 Generals and Krishanti Yoga and all this different things that encompassed that form of Filipino martial arts. The Grandmaster of the system was Grandmaster Jimmy Gallis, who was also one of the founding members of the Philippine Karate Association. And so, we're learning all this stuff, and then, okay, now you're going to put it to use, right? And fighting in the Philippines back in the 70s, there was no soft pads, and there was no kicking booty made out of foam, there was no chest protectors. You got in front of that other guy, bare knuckle to bare knuckle, and
if you're lucky, there was an ice pack at the end of the day.
There you go, it was, they were hitting you hard. They were hitting you hard enough to where if you weren't doing your sit-ups and the guy connected to your body, boom, you just dropped, So when you trained back in those days, you really trained, Unfortunately, you can't train that way anymore here in the U.S. due to all the liabilities, but it's the way I trained when I was living in the Philippines, and so, Ricardo Mendoza opened the doors, because he's the one that told me to encompass everything, learn from this side, learn from that side. So when we were traveling, if we stopped off in Singapore, right? Okay, what they teach in Singapore? Oh, Silat. They teach Silat in Singapore. Okay, let's go find the Silat teachers in Singapore. Oh, we're in Australia now. So, what's available? Oh, the guy that teaches the SAS, right, was, he had a school there, and, I happened to luck out and go to his school, and I go, yeah, we're here for a short time, and we'd like to learn something while we're here. And he says, well, what are you doing? I go, well, I'm in the Navy, and the guy, oh, you're in the Navy. That's great. I'll teach you what I teach the SAS. And he went to the back, and he got a couple of Uzis, and he got some handguns and some knives, and he says, okay, we're going to do this. And it was, he put a Uzi in my hand, and the next thing it was in his hand pointing at me, right? And so, and it was, okay, first thing you got to do is get that muzzle out of the way. And so it was like, almost like doing Paksal, right? Mm-hmm. You're coming in and you're going, pow, pow, you're hitting it out of the way and hitting that guy really hard. And as you're coming back, you're ripping that gun out of his hand and pivoting, and now you're facing him with that gun. But it's shock and awe, right? You're, boom, come out, and now you're facing that guy with the Uzi, right? And so we were doing all this kind of stuff. And so his name was Jan de Jong. And so I didn't realize how famous the guy was until later on, Mm-hmm. To me, it was, hey, he teaches the SAS, cool, And it wasn't until later that, I'm realizing he was, one of the pioneers in Silat, mm-hmm. in Australia at the time, And so, it's been a really good ride, because everywhere I went, because I was always willing to learn, right? Mm-hmm. Just go in there, and you don't have to say, I do this, I do that, I'm good at this, I'm good at that. Just go there and say, I want to learn. If you want to learn, they'll teach you. If you say you're good at this and you're good at that, and you do this and you do that, then they go, well, you're good at all that stuff. What do I need to teach you anything for, right?
Exactly.
Right? So go in there with the mind, I want to learn. If you're willing to learn, people are willing to teach you. And that's the thing is, everybody wants the fast, quick way of doing things and don't want to work hard for it. Sometimes, you don't realize that hard work is what pays off. I think the first step is first find something that appeals to you, right? Mm-hmm. Because, if it doesn't have that appeal, right, that, because you can see a martial art and you go, that's okay, I'll just, it's the closest school, so I'll just go there and learn that, mm-hmm. instead of going, yeah, that school might be 10 miles further, but boy, I really like the discipline. I really like, the respect factor, that mm-hmm. the students have for each other, and the teacher has for the students, and vice versa, right? And you're going, that's more of a family, and I'm probably going to learn a lot more there, right? I don't want to go to a school to get abused. I want to go to a school to learn, right?
Absolutely.
And so there's a big difference between being taught and being beat up, right? I don't need to go to school so that you can hospitalize me for a week or something for me to go, oh man, yeah, he has a great sidekick, right? It's like, no. If you're that good a teacher, you're that good with your control, mm-hmm. right? That to me tells me the difference between a wannabe and a true master. A true master has control. A true master doesn't have to prove anything to you, and a true master doesn't have to hurt you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You know, he can show you that he's in control of the situation without causing any permanent damage. You know, I can cause you temporary pain, but you can go home and still have a great time and go play racquetball, soccer, or baseball the next day.
I can still write my name in the morning.
You can still write your name in the morning, yes. And so, you know, I don't need to hurt you
Mm-hmm.
to impress you. I don't need to, I don't need to show off to get your attention.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I should just be able to go to you and say, okay, this is what we're going to do. Respectfully, okay, let's do that, and we go ahead, and you start learning, and then you work what I show you, and you come back to class, and we start to do it, and I realize, wow, he's really doing this really good. He must have been practicing this the last couple of days before the next class.
Mm-hmm.
And so he really is wanting to learn. So now I go, oh, I can teach him more, right? Your teacher will want to teach you more if you're really learning. If you don't work what I teach you, and you go home and then you come back to the next class and we still have to go back to the basics because you're not practicing what I taught you, and then you go back home and then you come back and again I'm still going over the same stuff I taught you the first day. You don't really want to learn. And to me, that just shows that, okay, he's just here just to say he does something.
Mm-hmm.
He's not here to learn, because if he was here to learn, he would have learned it. And so when I see that you've learned it, now, oh, this guy's going to be good. I want to teach him, because you want to teach the people that
want to learn.
Want to learn. Yes, and to me, that's the pleasure of teaching.
Mm-hmm.
Right? When you have students that have that desire to learn, then that gives the teacher the motivation to want to really share and not hold back, right? And if you're the guy that's there just to waste his time, then the teacher just feels like he's wasting his time. Yes, he's still teaching you, but he's not going to give you as much as he would give the person that has that true, honest desire to learn.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, I think that way. I think a lot of teachers might think that way. If you really want to learn, I really want to teach you.
Absolutely.
Well, we do the Espadidaga, we do the staff, we do the spear, we do the basically anything that you can put your hands on, I can show you how to use, and how to use it well. The Espadidaga from the Philippines, yes, the dagger is small.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the dagger is, I don't mean to say that it's small, but, in comparison to the European sword and dagger,
Mm-hmm.
the dagger is small, right? So, yes, I play a lot with it, and have for years. But I also do the European sword fighting, where I'm using a real sword and a real dagger.
Mm-hmm.
And what a lot of people don't realize is that the size of the European dagger is the size of an eskrima stick. All right?
Mm-hmm.
So the European dagger is about that long. And then you have the sword, which is 2 to 3 times that length. All right? And so now, I do both. I get to play both. I've been playing with the European sword fighting for over 16 years.
Mm-hmm.
Now, a lot of people don't know that about me, right? I love fighting. I love getting in there and mixing it up. So yes, I do the sword and dagger. I do the sword and shield, right? So, and we also use the buckler, which is the small shield,
Yep.
right? And so, you know, a lot of things that people don't know is that when you're using the buckler, right, you're not using them separately, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the swords, a lot of the swords didn't have, they had cross guards, but they didn't have the fancy cup guards and the ricassos that actually covered the hands.
Mm-hmm.
So that small shield was actually used, you know, here, you know, so that when you're doing everything, your hand
Protected.
was protected against the blow of the other guy's sword. So, you know, I do that kind of fighting. You know, we armor up and get in there and we do that. And so it's it is so much fun. You know?
I've seen your videos, yes.
and so I enjoy it. What a lot of people don't realize is the fights when you look at the real fight,
Mm-hmm.
it only lasts a second or two, right?
Yep.
One or 2 seconds and the other guy's dead, right? It's just that quick, you know? And so you don't realize that, it's not going to be this prolonged thing where we're moving, hitting.
It's not at all.
No, I am going to stalk you, and I am going to look at where you're going to drop your defense. And when your defense drops or your timing gets off just a little bit, that little second is all that it's going to take for me to take you out. And you've seen it in real motion,
Mm-hmm.
you know, because those fights on tape, they're not prearranged. Those were real, actual dueling fights,
Yep.
you know, and you see that sword bend. I mean,
There was definite contact.
the contact was there. You know, the guy attacked and ran right into my sword, right? And so, but that's the timing. That's the kind of things that, you know.
The weight shift, the pause in the breathing.
Yeah.
So
It's you know, it's not like you see where everybody gets padded up and all this escrimador gear, then you're facing each other and you hit each other 50 million times. In reality, all it takes is one blow. There's a movie that came out that was called By the Sword,
mm-hmm.
and again, it's sword fighting, you know. It's where the old master gets out of jail and goes to a sword fighting school, and he asks if he can teach there, and the young school owner, sword master, says, well, let me see what you got. And he does a couple back and forth rounds with the guy. He says, you were good at one time, but you don't have what it takes to... I'll tell you what, I'll hire you as a janitor. You know? Guy takes a job as a janitor, goes home and starts working out,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And in the end, you know, he has another duel with the school owner, except this time with real swords, you know? And it came to the point where the guy was like a 4 or 5 time world champion,
Mm-hmm.
but when it really came down to the real deal was that the old man
Knew what he was doing.
knew what he was doing, right? So don't ever discount that old man.
Definitely not.
You know, so that was one of the ones I really like, you know, the movies that have a lot of realism in them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if they have realism, then I'm a real fan. You know, if it's Hollywood theatrics. I'll watch it for the fun of watching it, but not for the choreography.
Not for the technique.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we just recently passed the 30-year anniversary of The Princess's Bride, which is, for so many non-martial artists, one of the epitomal sword movies that they've grown up with.
Yes, and that was another one of my favorites. I like it when Inigo Montoya, you killed my father, prepare to die.
And I've seen your trick where you'll fight someone right-handed, and halfway through it, oh, by the way, I'm not right-handed.
True.
So.
I've been teaching right-handed for 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
But I do not totally neglect my left hand because I am a left-handed person.
Mm-hmm.
And so basically everything I can do with my right, I can duplicate with my left. Only it's a little different because a lot of people are not used to seeing the left hand,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so I will be teaching somewhere for years and years. And then one day, we'll be out there and we're doing, maybe decadena, which is chain movements where we're striking back and forth, but it's freestyle.
Mm-hmm.
And I go, oh man, this hand is tired and I've already gone through 6 or 7 guys. I'll tell you what, let me change to my left hand. And everybody, oh yeah.
We're going to get him now.
Get him now, right? And all of a sudden they end up dying even faster because, that left hand, that's natural left hand speed, whereas, this one has been trained, but this is natural, And so when the natural comes out, it's boom, I said, oh wow, how did that get did that quick? That wasn't supposed to happen, right?